Hi everybody, I'm Rachel. We've been real busy today getting things ready because we're getting ready to go back to Texas. So it was a very, very busy day. So I thought I would make something simple. And to me, making green chicken enchiladas are simple. So that's what I'm going to do. I was debating on whether I should use some fresh green tomatoes for my salsa or if I should use some of the one that I have already canned. As you can see, this is all I have left. A few months ago, my Ron and I made some of this green tomato salsa, and this would be perfect and ideal for the enchiladas that I'm going to make today. But we still had a few little green tomatoes on the vine, and I didn't want to let them go to waste. And besides, it's really, really cold, so you know, they'd probably go bad. So we picked our little baby green bell peppers. As you can see, they're really nice and small because, you know, we thought, well, why leave them on the vine? And we got some of our jalapenos off the vine too. And look at these. Look at how small these are. I just thought they were cute, but I thought they were safer in here than to be out there with our cold weather. And so instead of opening these, I think I'm going to take them with me to Texas. So anyway, I just wanted to share these with you and show you that these are just plain green tomatoes with a little bit of salt and onions in there, and they would have been perfect. But I'm going to use fresh ones so they won't go to waste. So in my blender here, I've got some green tomatoes that I just boiled real quick just until they lost its color. I'm going to add 2½ garlic cloves, and I'm going to add a can of green chilies in there, just like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water, just a little bit, not even ½ a cup. And then I am going to just, you know, whip it up really good. Just like that. So let's get started. You know, there's a lot of different ways of making chicken enchiladas. You can make them with a red sauce, you can make them with a green sauce, you can use sour cream, you can make them with cream cheese, you can make them with green tomatoes, you can make them with tomatillos. There's just so many different ways of making green enchiladas. But throughout the years, as I have made green enchiladas, I say green, they look kind of whitish because of the cheese. And the cheese too. There's many different cheeses that you can use. Mostly I like pepper jack. I like mozzarella. That's probably my kind of like my last choice. But I do like the quesadilla cheese, you know. So even cheeses, there's different cheeses you can use. And this recipe that I'm going to fix today has become like my Ron and mine's favorite. So I'm going to share it with you. So I've got my pan here a little hot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of butter. A little more, 2½ tablespoons. And then I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil in there, mix with it, just like that. And then I'm going to melt it. Just let it come and melt, just like that. Since this is my Le Creuset, you know, like a cast iron, it gets hot really quick. So you don't want it to burn. So as it's melting, I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of flour. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make a roux first. I'm going to make a roux. And what you want to do is you want to, you know, just don't stop. Don't stop stirring with your whisker because you want it to, you don't want it to get clumpy, but you do want it to come to a light golden brown. So you just keep on whisking it like this. And you know, this combination of butter with flour and chicken bouillon, if you don't have, you know, chicken broth, makes the best gravies. It's a chicken gravy, turkey gravy, you know. And you can do the same thing. If you need brown gravy, you can use butter. You can make a roux like this, and then you can add beef broth instead of the chicken broth. And you can make the best homemade gravy. No need for you to buy any. So I just keep on whisking like that. I'm gonna raise my heat up a little bit to about medium there. And I do want it to come to a light golden brown, but you don't want to burn it. You just want it to get a little bit of a golden brown color. Today before I got started, I went ahead and boiled a couple of chicken breasts that I had. And I added a clove of garlic. And I have that ready. So that's the broth that I'm going to use. I had about 1 cup in the freezer. So I went ahead and thawed it out, and I mixed it with the water that I use to boil my chicken. So it's going to be a great combination. I could make good music here. So it's getting a little bit brown, just the way I want it to be. Ooh, and I can smell it. It just smells so good, that combination with the butter. Now I'm going to add my broth, and I've got my broth ready here. I'm going to add it in here. And I'm going to add about, that's 2 cups, because this holds 4 cups. Now I'm going to get my tomato mixture here, and I'm going to put it in there. Just like that. And I'm going to give it a nice stir. And you know, the reason I like to use green tomatoes better than I like to use tomatillos. And I'm going to tell you why. I think tomatillos, though I do use them. And as a matter of fact, I use them quite a lot in a lot of different dishes. But in my enchiladas, I'd rather use the green tomatoes. I don't think they're as acidic as the tomatillos are. And I do like to eat the enchiladas, and I don't want them to be very acidic. So I'd rather use the green tomatoes. Now, the butter and the flour roux that are in there just kind of tone it down, the acidity of the tomatoes. So it's just such a delicious taste. So now that I have this all mixed, I'm going to let it simmer a little bit less than medium for about 5 minutes. My enchilada sauce has already come to a light boil. And I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cumin. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of oregano. And I'm going to add a little bunch about this size of finely chopped cilantro. Just like that. I'm going to stir it around. You know, my Ron's not very crazy about cilantro, but it just gets lost so good in this sauce that it just gives it a fantastic flavor. He doesn't really get as much of a taste out of it as he does like with other dishes. There we go. This is about the time when you want to taste it. You want to add your salt, you know. I did add some salt into the chicken water when I was boiling my chicken. I added some salt in there. And so I'm going to taste it just to be sure and see if I think it needs some more. I think I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. This is about half a teaspoon right here in this little spoon here. Half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of pepper. Like that. Then I'll stir it around. I'll stir it around. And I'm going to let it simmer. Bring it up to a very light boil. Just about where it's at. Let it continue doing what it was doing while I get my tortillas ready. Now, with the tortillas, a lot of people like to use flour tortillas. Some use corn tortillas because they don't like the flour. It depends on your taste. Now, I've done it before with flour tortillas, and I think they're delicious. And corn tortillas are delicious too. Now, like I said, since we're getting ready to leave, I don't have any flour tortillas made or even store-bought. But I do have corn tortillas, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add some cooking oil into my pan. You don't have to add a lot. It's just going to be just a little bit because the tortillas are going to go in and out really quick. I think there was a little bit of water in there or something. Now, I say quick, I mean real quick, just like that. There's one. Here's another one. And I'm going to keep on doing that. I've got my enchilada sauce nice and ready. And it just smells and tastes delicious. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm using this Pyrex dish. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and just put some of this in the bottom like that. Ooh, I can smell that butter in there. I can smell the cilantro, a little bit of the cumin, and the oregano. Just like that. You don't have to put a lot. But you do want to put some because you don't want for them to stick or dry up. Okay, so I've got some Mexican crema here. And I'm also going to drizzle some of that on top, like that. You can put as much as you want. I could go crazy with this. Just like that. Now, put an hour there. There we go. So now I'm going to roll my enchiladas. I'm going to put some chicken. And you can put as much as you want. Now, if you notice, I didn't put any onions when I first went to make my enchilada sauce. And that's because my Ron likes it just a little bit crispier. He doesn't want it to get lost in the sauce. For that reason, you know, I could have just used powdered onion powder. But so I left it for this part. So I've got the chicken in here. I put the onions in there. These are optional, obviously. If you don't like onions, you don't have to use them. Now, in here in my cheese, I use pepper jack because Ron loves pepper jack. And I always keep it in the refrigerator. He likes to go cut pieces and snack on it at night. And so I've got pepper jack in here. As a matter of fact, I've got all the cheeses that I had left over so that I don't have any cheeses left over and have to worry about them. So I mostly have pepper jack, Monterrey Jack that I had, and a little bit of cheddar. As you can see, there's a little bit of cheddar in there. All cheeses are good. I don't think there are some that are not any better than the others. So I'm going to go ahead and put some cheese in there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the salsa in there. Actually, it's enchilada sauce. Just a little bit like that. Then I'm going to roll them up. Put one in here, like that. Here's the second one. Put it all in there. Put some onions. Put the cheese. Put some of my enchilada sauce in here. Like that. Roll them up. Here's another one. Some onions. Cheese. A little bit of the enchilada sauce. Roll them up. And I like to leave a little space like this. Just a little space. And I'm going to do the other three. This is my last one here. I like to leave a little bit of space because it's easier to serve. If you get them real tight, or if you put them sideways like that, which I never do, then when you want to take them out, you break other ones out. So I'd rather use another dish than to make them real tight and use another one. Now, as you can see, they are spaced out. There's a little space in between. I'm gonna go ahead and add some of this enchilada sauce on top, like that. And I like for it to have plenty on the sides, like that. Have plenty on the sides. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put some cheese on top. And this is freshly grated. And it's just so good. I just want to take a mouthful of it. So I put some of that cheese on top. Like this. Then I add a little bit of the chicken that I had left over. Just a little bit like that. Put a little bit of the crema. Just like that. A little more of the salsa. Enchilada sauce. You want to make sure that there's plenty on the sides like this. Plenty on the sides over here. Over here. And the reason you want to do that is because if you don't, you'll have very dry tips. So now I've got them ready like that. I'm going to put them in the oven. I've got my oven set at 350. I'm going to put them in the center. Now, everything that we've got in there, in the enchiladas wrapped, is already cooked. So we put them in the oven mostly so that the cheese will melt. Everything will just come together. So I'm going to go ahead and set it for about 15 minutes and let's see what's going on, and then I'll be back. It's been 15 minutes, so I'm going to get my enchiladas out. Now, when you make enchiladas, you like to let them sit for just a little bit after you bring them out of the oven, because they can break on you because they're so hot. So I'm going to let them sit here for just a few minutes, and then I'm going to serve them. I'm going to go ahead and serve myself. I've left them out here for about 4 minutes. You want to be careful with them. Just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this sauce. On top. I'm gonna go ahead and serve me just a little scoop of some Mexican rice that I made earlier today during lunchtime. Only because I like it on the side. Just like that. Now, I like to eat my enchiladas putting on a little cilantro on top like this. Little tomato. I love cilantro. My Ron doesn't. He's going like this. Then I put a little bit of crema on top just like this. And then I'm waiting a minute. You can have charro beans on the side. You can really have anything you like. See these? My Ron is looking at me. Oh my gosh. Little bit of rice. You know what? Enchiladas like this with tomato sauce is my favorite because it's not so acidic. Now, if I had used tomatillos, I would have used maybe 2 tomatillos and maybe 4 tomatoes because I want to tone it down a little bit. Even if you did use all tomatillos, when you make that roux that I made with the flour and the butter and then the chicken broth, you tone it all down. Now the salt is just perfect on this because I have used salt to boil my chicken. That's when you can adjust it. These are my enchiladas right here. Look at this one. See? And they're just a little tiny bit of a spice from the green chilies. If you like my video, if you like my enchiladas, please subscribe if you haven't yet. If you subscribe, touch the little bell and you'll get a notification every time a new video comes up. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Give me your opinion, a suggestion. And thank you very much.